winter of 2017, around December, I was camping with friends right outside of the Paiute Reservation near St. George, Utah. None of us are native, but we were trying very hard to be respectful of the land. We set up an A-frame and every night packed in like sardines. I was on the outside and my buddy Seth was next to me. Coyotes are pretty common in this part of the country, but they're pack animals who don't really engage with campers, so it's very common to hear them, but not as common to see them up close. However, every night that week we saw this mange old coyote, gray-haired, blistered skin, probably on the edge of death. It walked with a limp in its front left paw, kind of like a dog that gets a pebble stuck in their paw meat. Anyways, we went to bed one night and I was still on the edge. Around 3:15, I woke up with a sharp pain in my ear. It ended up being a beetle burrowing in my ear, but that's not important. Anyway, I hit the side of my head and pressed my ear, and I was freaking out because it was really acute pain that I had never felt before. I think I thought I was having an aneurysm. Anyways, I woke Seth up to have him shine a light in my ear, and as soon as he woke up, he legit pissed his pants. Like, he was horrified. So my chest opens up and I'm like, what is it? He reached above his head and gets a mirror and holds it up to me, and to my horror, there's a scraggly old man. Gray hair, huge tumor on the side of his face, torn up clothes, walking with a cane and a limp. He doesn't seem to be at all cognitive of us, almost as if he was in a different dimension. We didn't have a gun or anything, so we just clutched our knives and kept our eyes on him for the rest of the night. He just wandered away at one point. The next morning, the two other people with us said that they had both dreamt that this kid, Chris, who wasn't with us, was tied to a tree upside down, and a massive silver glowing elk slowly but surely gutted him alive with its horns. They said the four of us and a few other friends all sat naked around the tree, not drumming or chanting, but almost like we were sacrificing Chris. They both had exactly the same dream and were able to draw the same picture down to the order we were sitting in and the number of branches on the tree without consulting each other. We texted Chris when we left and got service, and he said he had been up all night puking. Was this a skinwalker? So, my father used to be a federal judicial officer for the Mexican government, and his jurisdiction would change from time to time on a case-by-case basis. He was very young and passing by a village around 8 p.m. when they stopped at a cantina for some food to continue on the road ahead. Back then, only sheriffs or very top officials had vehicles, but the rest had to use public transportation to get around. Except for them, it was at least free. They stopped to eat and make conversation with the locals when an older gentleman asked where they are going, and my father says since there's no buses or taxis in the village, he and his friends were planning to walk about an hour and a half to the next town that was down a dirt road. The old man looked surprised and asked, "You're going through there right now? Don't you know the story?" To which my father replies, "No, they're not from that area, and it's just a simple walk, no problem. And besides, they were armed," and laughed it off. The old man seemed a bit pensive when he continued and told them that there was a story from the village that people don't walk that road at night because of the 3 demon pigs. My dad and his buddies laughed, but the old man was not amused. He was serious. He began to tell them that the people that had walked down that road at night had gone missing, and that he and others had seen the cause. 3 demon pigs. My dad laughed again, but the old man ignored him. He went on to say that when he was younger, he had to run in with said pigs. He said it was late at night and was walking back home to his village on the dirt road from his cousins the next town over, when suddenly he heard a voice. He turned to see 3 pigs, black hair like that of a warthog and eyes black as night. He couldn't see the natural reflection of light that animals' eyes usually had, and was overcome with a sense of dread and fear, and so they began to speak and laugh. The man was terrified and couldn't muster the will to move. They spoke vile things about the man's family and spoke of the gruesome death, each pig speaking with a different tone. Once he was able to muster movement, the man sprinted back non-stop back to his cousin's house, where he got himself together and didn't go out for the rest of the night. My dad listened, as he's respectful, and didn't say anything smart this time, but still insisted that he was going to walk that dirt path with his buddies as he had to, and so the old man offered him a ride there, free of charge, saying he didn't want them walking there at night, whether they believed him or not. And that is the end of my father's recounting. Hey guys, so I need to give some background info. I'm a 14-year-old girl from Texas. I have Asperger's that will be relevant later. From when I was very young, I would wander alone in the woods or general wild areas. I am very aware of sounds and smells. One of my earliest memories of something I couldn't rationalize at the time started with a very potent odor. It smelled like rotten meat mixed with, I know this is weird, but perfume. I had been in the woods alone picking wild onions and flowers when I smelt it. The area was very, very old, an abandoned settlement in the woods. I honestly wasn't all that concerned. The smell got stronger and stronger. I started to hear what I can't best describe as a dog panting. I decided I would investigate. I thought there was an animal that needed my help or something. I entered a clearing. The trees grew in a kind of dome shape and the sun was heavily blocked out. I had to crawl through a tunnel of vines and thorns to get in. The ground was littered with animal bones, large livestock, pets, birds, and small animals. There was a deer standing at the entrance. The smell was very, very intense at that point. The deer did not have a proper tail. It looked empty. I've always had a strong connection with animals, but this one felt off. I greeted the deer and placed my onions and flowers on the ground. I grabbed some bones by my feet and left. Starting from that experience, whenever I stayed at my grandmother's house near the woods, animals I met acted strange. Birds of all kinds would follow me in the woods. I would smell that strange sweet scent in the air and hear panting at night. Something would tap at the window. I always tapped back. I would have rats run up to me when I went into the garage. All of these animals have that empty looking tail. These strange things didn't stop when I moved. Recently, my dad got a job in closed mines and cave sites. He had regularly brought home pottery, bones, and precious minerals from ancient Indian sites. I've kept these things in my room for safekeeping. I found a very large rib bone that joined my collection as well. The day I started sorting these things in my room is when things started to go downhill. My lights will dim and flicker. My animals will suddenly run out of the room. My pets have started staring into the corner. I keep the artifacts in. I've had very strange dreams as well. All of them involving some of my stinky, wrinkly-tailed animal friends. Does anyone have any insight on what could be happening? I don't feel like I'm in any danger. I just feel like I'm not always alone in my room anymore. Everything I've looked up about these animals has brought me here to this sub. I'm hoping someone can help me understand what is happening.